In the next 10 minutes or so, you are going to be able to interpret the US30 chart, the Dow Jones chart, and the gold chart without any difficulties. Now you're going to ask me how. Let's go over right onto my chart. You can clearly see that we closed off the week with such a bullish move on US30. What an impulsive move that we had as the week was closing. We closed off with 0.84 and the Nasdaq was kind of lagging around, closed off in the negative. And this trade, I did not actually trade it alone. It was sent in the free signal group before it actually played out with over 7,000 members, which I do hope that the majority of them did benefit from this trade. You can clearly see that we dropped it off around about that level and the trade played out perfectly. I did tell them to add positions as we break out of certain levels, right? We had a lovely trade. It broke out of this level and we added positions. Now, what are we saying? You can clearly see that we are currently sitting at the highest of highs on US30. And just because the market has gotten to the highest point, that does not mean that it is ready to go back down. That is going to be our first chart. Let's look at the gold chart right over here. You can clearly see that the gold chart is also almost ranging at the highs, right? We can go on to our daily time frame or not. Let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. It makes a lot more sense. And then we're going to make an analysis. Let's zoom it in a little bit so we can see a clearer picture right over here. So look at what gold is doing. I want you to notice how, yes, indeed, we are on an uptrend, right? But the market did form a certain level like this. Notice how this is the exact same, setup that gold is kind of giving. So what is technical analysis? We're simply using what the price did in the past to determine what it's actually going to do or what it might do in the future. You can clearly see that we had the market ranging at this level right over here. It got to this zone and broke out. Let's take a little replay. So all of this had not yet happened. Well, we could say all of this had not yet happened. And then we had the market playing around until it eventually broke out of this level. And then this is exactly what we're looking at. But we're not yet diving right into the depth of this chart. Let's look at the third chart, which is our favorite, the Nasdaq. You can clearly see that the market is ranging right over here. And I think you've heard about this. The longer the market ranges, the stronger the trend. So we're going to analyze each and every chart in detail. But before we do all of that good stuff, if you are new to the channel, welcome. We trade the Nasdaq over here. If you're returning, welcome back. You already know what's up. Don't forget to hit the like button, turn on your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. Because when I hit 20,000 subscribers, I am going to be doing a little giveaway. Now let's go right onto these charts. Starting off with our US30 chart right over here, we're going to start off by deleting every single thing that we don't need. The first point that we are interested in is the highest point that the US30 chart has gotten to. So we're saying that the market has a chance of going to retest the highs that it has formed or break out of those highs to continue the upward movement, right? Next point that we're interested in is the little retracement level that it had as it was breaking out of those highs. And then obviously the most immediate highs that it did break out of. This was a resistance that was broken out of and has been turned into a support, right? But all of these things, you already know how to mark up these levels from the previous videos that I'm always dropping on my channel. If you have not yet checked them out, check them out. They're actually quite, helpful. So we do analyze like this, on a daily basis. But what I want to talk about today is the entry triggers. This is simply a pattern that gets you into the trade after all your conditions are met. So on our US30 chart, what are our conditions? We are going to be trading in the direction of the trend, which is obviously an uptrend. And most of these charts, Nasdaq, US30, and gold, have been, trending to the upside. So most of the times we want to look for buying positions. Second thing is to classify the type of trend that we are in. We do have three different types of trends. We have an uptrend, we have a downtrend, and we have a ranging trend, which we have Nasdaq ranging. We have, US30 on an uptrend, and gold, which was on a little downtrend, kind of like a retracement, and it just broke out of this level and it wants to now push up to the top. The third thing, you need to identify the area of value that you want to be trading. That is also your point of interest. Now looking at our US30 chart right over here, provided that all of our conditions are met, we now want to find the entry trigger at these certain levels, right? And as you already know me, I always like my price action when I'm looking at entry triggers. I like the bullish engulfing candles. I like most of the indecision candles, especially the dodgy candle. That is one of my favorite. I want to see all of those happen happening at these, points of interest that I have marked. So there is absolutely no need to complicate anything here, because it is as simple as buying the market when it pulls back or buying it as it breaks out. Now, as you already know that the market does not ever move like tap water. We're never going to see the market just dropping down like this. We might want to see it moving around before it decides to go up to the top or to the bottom. So as the market progresses during the week, we want to now look at these area of values that we have marked up. What kind of candlesticks will be getting formed at these specific points, right? If we see the market breaking out of this level, we already know that it wants to come back and retest the zone. If we see it breaking out of the highs, we already know that the buyers still want to push the market to the upside. And what I always say, if we're trading the highest of highs, we never know where the market is going to end. It might want to just come and end at this level before it reverses, or it would want to continue with the upward movement. If you are trading the breakout of the highs, you might not really know where to put your take profit if you're not using the Fibonacci extension. That is why it is always safer as it comes to these levels or the next levels right over here, provided you have really good entry triggers, really good price actions at this zone. So US30 is not looking complicated at all. Now let's go over onto our gold chart. It has been playing around at these levels for quite some time, and then we can clearly draw a little trend line. I think we can draw a little trend line. You already know that we will draw our week to our week, not like this, but like this. Right, this is the correct way to draw a trend line. It makes more sense. And then what I would want to do is clone this, trend line that I have, so that it can have a little area of value instead of a line, right? Because you can clearly see that we have a week that faked out. So all of this zone right over here is my area of value. So like I said earlier, we did see gold retracing a little bit like this, forming a little downtrend, because this is a 4-hour time frame. This is a really big move. If the market has been selling like this is a little trend that it was forming, and you can clearly see that it has broken out of it. So what would want the gold chart to do is to retest these levels. It might come and retest it right at this trend line or right inside of this zone right over here. So I'm going to put my line right over here. Now remember, a point of interest can never be a straight line. It has to be a zone, because the market can come retest in these zones right here, whatever. So it has to be an area of value, right? It's an area, it's not a straight line. So in this zone right over here, we would want to see potential retests of these trend lines that it actually just broke out of. And then if we do see good price action at these levels, then we obviously want to go in for the highs. Now gold really moves a lot different to Nasdaq and US30, because it is affected by a lot of things, especially all of these major news events are always affecting the way gold moves. So it might just be moving like this today, and then tomorrow you just see it retracing, right? So if it does actually keep pushing up to this level and comes to this zone right over here, we're already targeting the next zone to be the highs. And if it gets to the highs, just because the market has hit its highest point, that does not mean that it's ready to go back down. You have to keep that in mind and want to look for breakouts instead. If it does break out, obviously you know that you want to ride it, but try and catch the move from a retracement point than the breakout, because you won't know where to place your take profit, right? That is very simple for the gold chart. As I did show you earlier, this is almost exactly the same setup that we were having right over here. So you can clearly see that, let's say for instance, this is where it was, and then this is where we currently are. You see that the market got to this level, it first dropped back down, went back up, right, and then started forming a little trend line right over here, even though today I'm not using trend lines at all. So it got to this level, and then with good price action, you saw the breakout right over here. You would have rolled it up to the top. You go on a lower time frame, this is a really nice breakout. You see more candles at this level, probably on the 15 minute, 30 minute, 5 minute time frame, or you can simply use the trend line to enter as the market progresses, if it actually does this at this level. Right now, going over to our most favorite chart, sure you know what that is. It is the Nasdaq. You can clearly see that I did say that we are raging on the Nasdaq, right? So let me just start by deleting this level right over here and going over onto our daily time frame. So it was looking as if we were at the highest point, which is not it on the Nasdaq. We are not yet at the highs, but we are sitting at this level right over here, and then the next zone that it might want to get to is this level, and then if it does break out of this level, we are actually going to now target the highs, and then we have hopes of actually breaking those highs, right? So on the daily time frame, that's not much. We just need to mark up these levels right over here like this, and then let's go on to our 4-hour time frame. Our 4-hour time frame, in this case, we're just going to actually use it for this level right over here, just confirming the resistance zone that we are having at this level on the 4-hour time frame, and would also want to mark the support level that we have right at the bottom, right? So let's go over. That's it on the 4-hour time frame. Let's go right over onto, you know, the 1-hour time frame, which I don't really like. Let's talk about it on the 30-minute time frame, because that is where we are seeing the range in a clearer view, right? So we do have our support levels at the bottom, our resistance levels at the top. Now, before we even talk about anything else, you can clearly see that this is money resting at these levels right over here, and this is money also resting at these levels right over here. So which side do you want to be caught on? If you notice price ranging for a very long time, you're not the only person that is seeing that exact movement. We have traders all over the world that are actually targeting these zones, and guess what? We have people that have sell limits at this level. We have people that have buying stops at this level. We also have people that have buying limits at the lower side of the support, and then we have those ones that have sell stops because they wanted to break out of the zone. So just because of that, these levels are going to be acting as a magnet, right, drawing the market towards them. So the market can be drawn towards this level to sweep out all of the orders here, or it can be drawn towards this level to sweep out the orders right over here. Now, a range depends on how you're going to be looking at it, because I can also see a range right over here. Just because we're on a larger time frame, this does not really look like a range, but if we go to a lower time frame, this is indeed a little ranging market that we're having right over here. Let me just confirm that on the 15-minute time frame. You can clearly see that the market came and touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That is already a ranging market right over there. On the 5-minute time frame, that's already worse. You can clearly see that this market was ranging, right? So that is the exact same thing that we can say money is resting at these levels and money is resting at these levels, right? So we have people that want to buy right at this level, ride it back to the top. We also have people that want to sell the breakout to ride it back down to the bottom. It just depends on how you are going to interpret the range according to the time frame that you're currently on. Now let's go back onto our 30-minute time frame. What are we going to be doing on the Nasdaq, right? Clearly, if the market breaks out of this level, which we don't want it to really do, I want to get a really quick entry on a Monday, right? But if the market does, either break out of this level or reject at this zone, if it rejects, we're going to have good price action at this level, and then we'll probably have a stop loss right below it. If it does break out of this zone, you can already see that magnet would have worked at this level, and then this would form another leg here. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 times the market coming to this level. There's a high chance that it would want to now break out to wipe out all of the other people that have their stop losses at this level, and then we might look at it buying from probably this zone, but we should consider the fact that we have a whole resistance zone right at this level. We might end up wanting to see, a little bit more candlesticks as they form at this level right over here for us to be able to confirm a good buying trade, but that's if it breaks out of this zone. Now, in the instance that it does not actually break out of this level, it decides to retrace at this point right over here. That's already it coming to this level that it might want to also retest, and if it does break out, you already know that we do have money resting at these zones, right? If it does end up breaking out of this zone, then you already know that we are going to ride this market right up to this level that I did speak about. All right, so yeah, let's not make it a little too large. This would be really too large, so we would probably want to put it at this zone. So if it does break out of this level, we would end up wanting to ride the market to this zone right over here. So that's actually not complicated. Looking at Nasdaq, US30 and gold, is it? That is absolutely not complicated. Oh, and one thing that I actually forgot to do was to check if we have news events. So don't forget to go onto your investing.com and then check for news events before you actually just place in a trade, because that might actually affect how the market would end up moving. But other than that, this market looks really lovely to trade, nothing too complicated. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button, turn on your post notifications, and subscribe to the channel. You feel me? With that, it's Vintino, and I'll see you in the next lit video. Peace.